if I get an opportunity to let the world know what keeps me on it.
The torch began its current 2-year journey in Alaska last October, and after stops in 300 cities and 36 countries, it's going to arrive in Argentina late next year.
That was step-by-step doing the Torch of Life walk, Kurt. And of course, it says, I'm reading an article, campaign urges black donors to step up. I was unaware of the statistics and the need in African American community until recently, said Victoria Bird 20, who leads New Beginnings Ministry, who heads New Beginning Ministry, a religion-based student organization, DeQuincy University, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, that features choir, step, and mine ministry. Bird Jr. and 2 other step performers will participate. And we have on the line none other than George Marcello. Good afternoon, George. How you doing?
Hi, Monty. Not too bad. How you guys doing there?
We're doing well. We're just running over the story of the Pittsburgh student. What's her name again?
Jamila Beverly.
Jamila.
I call her Lady J.
Lady J. There's another Lady J. Well, I was looking at her story, and just the mere fact that she needs 3 organ transplants is like, wow. You know, I just can't imagine my own child needing 3 different organ transplants. One, much as 3.
I know.
Funny. Yeah, it's hard, it's difficult. Of course, we got your boy here in the studio, none other than the other part of the champ, Kurt.
Hey, Kurt.
George.
And you know I'm with David here beside me, eh?
Hey, Monty.
Yes, David. Yeah, David is. Let's talk to David for a little bit.
Go ahead, Dave.
Okay, I'm here.
Hey, Dave.
Hi.
Folks don't know much about you, and we want to tell them a little bit about you. You've been 9 years ago. You were doing the same thing you are today.
Yes, it was 2001 in the spring. I drove in through Alberta and British Columbia for 6 months, and then Newfoundland for a couple of weeks before I went back to work after recovering from my own liver transplant.
So you're also the liver transplant recipient.
Yes, I am.
What was it like were you at the critical stage, and you have to wait very long to get a transplant? What was it like?
I waited a couple of years almost. I had experienced liver failure in '93, and I had my transplant in the summer of '95. And my doctor had just told me he told me that I had less than a week to live, and 20 minutes later my pager went off.
Wow.
So
what was that? When you say you had 3 weeks to live, were you like that quick? Were you in the hospital, or you were still walking around?
I'd been in the hospital several times at that point, and I could barely walk. I couldn't feed myself or bathe myself or dress myself at that point. And my doctor telling me I had less than a week to live, I had been preparing myself for that possibility, but I never really gave up hope. I always thought that my angels would come forward for me.
But, most people are never faced with such kind of consequences. I mean, if somebody's going to die, most people don't understand that. What was it like, your doctor telling you, what, that's it for you, man?
No, it was less than a week. It wasn't 3 weeks.
Oh, less than a week?
Yes.
Wow. What did that feel like, hearing that and knowing?
There was a certain resignation there, my home was about 20 minutes away from my doctor's office, and it was on the way home from that meeting that my pager went off to go and have my transplant.
Oh, I see.
So I had about 20 minutes of thinking that, well, if I don't get my transplant now, I'm going to die within a week. Right? So that's how critical it was for me. And then 24 hours later, I'd had my transplant, and I was it was like being shot out of a cannon.
A complete
Yeah, and that was 15 years ago, Monty.
Wow. Wow.
So,
We're happy to know that, 15 years ago, God could get out of chance.
yes, and you know what? I recognize what George is doing on behalf of the children of Canada and the U.S. and I try to honor my donor in my own way, and it's very, very difficult to live up to that. It really is. It's like, how do you honor that person, in everything that you do every day? That's kind of how I try and live my life. And of course, I go through the same stuff everybody else does. I complain, and and I think that I think just like everybody else does, but something always kind of brings me up short and says, listen, you've been given another chance. Stop your complaining and just go forward. So that's how that's how it feels like to be a transplant recipient. And I've watched a lot of my friends and my colleagues from my own transplant group. I've seen them die over the last 15 years, a lot of them, and there's from my group of transplant recipients from that time, there's very, very few of us left. So it does. They did get a transplant, and they're no longer living.
But are they getting liver transplant?
Yes, I'm talking about liver transplants in particular, yeah.
So, what is the cause? Did it die from because the liver went?
You know what? I'll tell you, cancer is a big one, and kidney failure is another big one. And then liver rejection is another one. But once you're this far out, rejection is a very slim possibility by this point. So I try to live every day like I'm going to make it to 20 years, and then I'm going to make it to 25 years, and I'm going to keep on trying to honor my donor just in the way I do things, the way I try and live, And
I remember you telling me that you got your donor in your academic 2 weeks ago at a dinner, and you told me about receiving the liver from a younger person. And by the way, I keep talking to you, and I forget my co-host, George, or Kurt. I keep doing
Hi, Kurt.
What is your I know it's coming. But while we were chatting, you said that you got it from a young donor, and for some reason you felt more energized and more useful than before.
I think it's more than just a perception. I think it's I think that I do believe in cellular memory.
Right.
And so yeah, it's a difficult thing to put your finger on. I think that each one of us recipients is affected in a different way by the donor. In some strange spiritual fashion.
Well, I mean, they say that I have to be spicy. Is that true, Chris? And when I donated my liver to David, the David is very spicy. So maybe there's some kind of truth to that. And we had interviewed a woman who talked about someone who had a heart transplant and is able to identify the donor, the cadaver donor, her murder and who the murderer was, just due to the heart transplant.
Yes, I remember you telling me that. That's an amazing story. I think I've heard that happen more with hearts than anything else. I certainly don't have any memories of any sort. I just know that, you know, it was basically my wife overhearing the ambulance attendants talking about it. And that's the only knowledge that I have. And, you know, I do feel, even though I feel every bit my age, there's something that makes me feel that I'm perhaps well, obviously I've benefited from a younger liver, you know. But yeah, it's a hard thing to convey that feeling of, you know, it really is. But I do believe in cellular memory, and if I do have memories from my donor, they certainly haven't manifested themselves in a obvious way. So does that make sense?
Yeah, well, it does make a lot of sense. I mean, when you told me the thing, it's so useful, I'm thinking, wow, that's deliberate, isn't it?
These cases are connected.
Really? Wow. Well, I never met you, so I don't know that. But I want to ask a question though. It must be a sense of great responsibility to have a second chance from God.
You know, it is. That's a good word to use. Trying to be responsible. You know, I've certainly tried to improve the way I conduct my life, and I'm not always good at it. You know, I fall down, but I try and pick myself up and dust myself off and carry on. It's you know, and I'm not attributing anything to that. You know, I'm no braver than anybody else. I'm no better than anybody else. I try to live my life in a very humble way, and so that, I think, that is very important too. But a sense of responsibility, yes. You know, there's very strict rules in the transplant field of you know, how you conduct yourself before you have a transplant, and of course afterwards as well.
Well, listen, we're so thankful to be able to speak to you and to share with us your experience as a donor. I mean, as a recipient, sorry. And we do hope our listeners to pay full attention that, you know, being that close and just in the nick of time, no, not ready to get.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It was my honor, and I'll put George on now.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you.
Hey, Monty, I gotta tell you something, Monty.
Go ahead.
And I have to say this. For the past few weeks, I've been trying to get connected with the national people, like UNOS and them, and there's a couple of other ones, right? And I got a few people that were working really hard to make that happen. And I got one guy in particular, Dr. Richard Darling from California, and he's been in contact with the CEOs because he wants to see this thing go national, right? And so he got a hold of all of them, and they started looking at my stuff, and they were really impressed, and they wanted to do something, right? And then you know what they did? They called Trillium, and they called Frank Markle, the CEO, and I got it right here on my email. I'm going to forward you the email that I received. And Frank Markle talked trash about me. He didn't have one good word to say, and now that's got those people concerned about doing something. You know, all this stuff that we've been doing in one little month here, and all this stuff that, you know, and it took a few words from this guy to break the link, or to break, you know what I'm saying?
Wow. So basically, they undermine what you're doing.
Because Frank went on about how he usually does about our activities, you know, that whatever, that we're associated with all the stuff that he's been saying. He never had a good word to say. And when he talked to them, because Frank's the head of the Ontario, because they have to, because they knew, they read my website inside out, so they knew I was from Ontario. So obviously they're going to contact the Ontario agency.
Okay, so they just wanted to confirm who you are.
No, there was enough on the website to do that. So it's just a natural thing to do is to contact the agency, you know.
So now what happens with
You know what? They're probably going to refrain from doing anything, which doesn't bother me at all because I really don't need them, just like I didn't need those other guys, you know. But just the thought of this guy, you know, after you see that thing that you played at the beginning? You know how happy that family was because we came there to help out and to, you know? And then to think that this guy is still continuously to this day bad-mouthing us anytime anybody phones him for reference on me or whatever, you know, and to know that if these guys would have bridged up with us, we would have been able to do even that much more work, you know, and this guy's stopping that from happening. You know, I had to share this, Monty, because I just read this right now as David was speaking to you. You know, because I thought I was going to report some good news that were connected with this, you know, and that we're probably going to go national.
Right.
And then...
So does this affect your Wednesday meeting?
No, not at all. I don't need any of those regional or national organ groups. I don't need any of them. I really don't. I haven't been getting any help from them. They haven't been the ones behind this. It's been like families like the Beverly family, like the other people that have been helping out to make all this happen. And it's got nothing to do with any of those organ groups.
Well, you know, George, you've been called to do a special job, and your job really is to go out and introduce the masses to the problem that we have. The problem that we have is we need more people to donate to bring the light to the world about organ donation. And once you know that, you just have to keep an eye. I mean, if they can attack David Price himself for going in the past, but you know, I mean, who are you that they would do with these? So we just have to keep that in mind. That you know, this is going to happen. This kind of stuff will come up. People will try to judge and see whether or not you are who you are. They even try to say that, you know, that you're not worthy, you're not credible to do the things you're doing. But we know what you've been doing. We've seen your work and all that kind of stuff. So not to worry about it.
Monty, I don't. That's just the devil working through them trying to stop me again. You know, I don't see it any other way because there's nothing good that can come out of somebody talking trash like that, you know? Nothing. And why would the devil want to see good things happen, you know?
About this young lady and what's going to be happening on Wednesday. Tell us what's going to be happening on Wednesday.
On the 24th?
Yes.
March? Well, I haven't gotten confirmation yet, but what I wanted to do was soon, probably Monday, I'm going to invite the Beverly family to join me in Washington, and to introduce them to the senators that I'm meeting, you know, and you know, this girl found a special place in my heart. She reminds me so much of Christopher. She's got that same fiery spirit in her, you know. It was in her eyes, and when I asked her, you know, Jamila, we're doing this for you. You know, we're going to carry the torch for you because, you know, and she goes, no, don't carry it for me. Carry it for all those other people that are waiting. Those are the exact words that Christopher said when you know, when he did his thing 5 years ago. It just, you got to get, you got to look at, when a child says something like that, a 14-year-old child that's been suffering her whole life and basically had to take responsibility huge when you got medical problems like that, you know, and here's a girl that at 14, when we said that we're going to carry it for her, she said, don't carry it for me, carry it for all those other kids, you know. It just...
Somebody we get an opportunity to speak with her too. You know, want to talk to her.
Oh, absolutely. I was hoping this weekend, you know, but it was her birthday yesterday. She's 15 actually. She turned 15 on Saturday. And so I know, you know, I was trying to contact the principal to get me her number and her contact. So I'll be talking to them next week about, you know, getting hooked up with you and everything. And definitely they got to meet you, Monty. Like, they got to hear what you did. I told them already, but they want to talk to you, you know.
Well, you told us on behalf of SOSTheAmericas.com that, you know, we want to wish a happy birthday for it. Maybe a little late, but we want to wish her a happy birthday and hope to get the opportunity to speak to her too.
Yeah, I will.
All right, George, we got to make it back, so we'll talk to you later.
Okay, bro.
Take care, bro.
Okay, bye.